Hello, streamers. I want to talk about putting yourself out there in a bigger way today because I did something this year that scared the bejesus out of me. I can't say what it really scared out of me. But have you ever been scared to do something? Scared to put yourself out on camera? Scared to put your heart and soul into your content? Has it ever felt too vulnerable? Give me a big yes in the comments. I would love to hear that. And if you are new around here, please do type new in the comments. I like to meet you and give you a big shout out. If you are new, you don't know me. Hi, I'm Laria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros, where we help you create professional live video that is uniquely you. So I see a whole bunch of yeses in here. Yes. Oh, yes, right? We're all doing something scary. Bravo, pup dog. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you showing up and welcome to the family. So here's the deal. We do get scared to get vulnerable, right? And I've been doing video and live video for coming up on 15 years. And still, there are times when I feel vulnerable and I feel uncomfortable putting myself out there. And that is exactly what I've done this year in a much bigger way. And I wanted to share 3 lessons with you from my own experience because I learned a lot by being scared and doing it anyway. And I want to give you those 3 lessons. And then tomorrow and a couple of times this month, we are actually going to be speaking to a few people who have done the same thing, putting themselves out there and getting past those fears. So thank you all. Wow, so many yeses. I love when it's when it's like so like everybody deals with this, right? So here's the deal. Earlier this year, in April, right around when the world changed, I was really scared to do something, and I'm going to kind of explain how this went down. I had big time imposter syndrome. If you're not familiar with that term, it's really the fear of doing the thing that you know you need to do because you start doubting yourself. Who am I to do this, to speak about this? No one wants to listen to me. There are other people who say it better. Imposter syndrome comes in many different forms, but I learned a very valuable lesson by stepping into imposter syndrome and through it. So what happened was right around when the world changed in April, we had a challenge, and we've been running this challenge for a few years called LITA. Who's a LITA-er in the LITA fam? Give me a hashtag LITA fam in the comments. So there's a challenge that I've done for years called Live Every Day in April and August. And it's really built to help you get through the uncomfortable of live. I see a ton of LITA fams in the house. LITA, boom. Yes. So you guys know what I'm talking about. But those of you who weren't in this challenge on April or August may not know. And so what happened was, in the past, it was all tech based. So we would teach you how to hold your camera, how to frame it well, how to get better audio, things like that, which is one of the biggest things that we teach in this business. And it went well, but we did see a lot of drop off with the tech angle for 30 days, a 30-day challenge, right? And it was like, okay, so in April, because so many people were just fearful of getting on camera, but yet being forced into being on camera, all of a sudden their entire world changed. And so they were coming to me for help with getting comfortable on camera. And so I said, you know what? No tech this time around. We're only going to deal with camera confidence and getting more comfortable in front of the camera so that people can build their businesses and recover from disaster. So at that time, I basically said 30 days to be more confident on camera. That was the challenge. And I literally had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I did. I mean, I've taught camera confidence, being confident on camera for a very long time. But inside of this challenge, I also felt like I needed to bring in a different angle, not just being confident on camera, not just how to present, because I can talk about that all day long, but I knew it needed to go deeper because of the fear that people were dealing with and the sudden world change that was forcing them into something that they had no idea how to deal with. And so I listened to my gut, which is hard for me to do. How many of you have trouble thinking or like listening to your gut? That has been a big struggle for me in my life, and I've been working really hard on it over the last year. And so I said, okay, so I'm going to bring in this whole uniquely you concept, right? Of how to bring your beauty, your magic out on camera. And so we went deeper with the challenge. And literally, I have been talking about being uniquely you in live streaming pros, but it's a concept that I'm still developing. And at that point, I was like, am I doing it? Should I not? Imposter syndrome hit big time. Like, do people really want this? Are they going to think, oh, this is weird and get out of there? Because I was asking them to get super vulnerable with the heart and the mind before ever talking about how to present yourself on camera. I was asking them to get vulnerable and talk to me and talk to the rest of the LITA family about what was stopping them. What was that big hurdle inside of here that was stopping them from going out and putting themselves out there, right? And so I was so scared to do this. I remember going to one of our moderators, Susan Schikowski, who I was like, okay, is this working? Like, because literally day by day, I was just doing one new thing. And I didn't have a month plan. I don't know if those of you in the April LITA challenge knew this, but literally I had no plan for that challenge. I was just taking it one day at a time, which is a huge lesson in and of itself for those of you who feel like you have to be prepared and know everything that's coming out. I didn't. So I did it anyway. Every single day I said, what do these people need? Where are they struggling? How can I help them? And how can I help them see that they are magic, that they are unique, and that they are amazing people, and that the world needs to see that magic. And so every day I just did something new. And I tapped into that uniquely you concept, and I was just like, okay, let's do it. And I did not feel comfortable. I know that we all deal with that, not feeling comfortable with doing something in our business or in our content and putting ourselves out there, or even in our personal lives. Am I right or am I right? So the results of it were incredible. So in April, when that challenge finished, guess what? Instead of people trailing off throughout the 30 days, like they did in previous tech-based challenges, that challenge, people finished it in a big way. Like they stuck with it. And I was so fearful that they wouldn't. But because it was dealing with some inner, stuff, they actually stuck through it because they were getting results very quickly. And transformation, that was the word of the challenge, becoming the word of the year for me, right? And it was so amazing. The results that people kept getting were so much deeper and so much more impactful, so much more meaningful than previous challenges. There was a lot of crying going on in LITA because this happens in a private Facebook group in a safe place that is not public. And so we were able to draw on those emotions, and people were crying as they had breakthroughs to work through their inner challenges. And we saw some amazing results. And then in August, I did it again. I wasn't so scared that time. I actually had a plan going into August that time, right? And I want you to see the progression between April and August. I knew that I could get people bigger results than I ever had before in my business. And that gave me confidence to do it again. And I'll do it again. And I'll do it over and over and over going forward. And I'll gain more confidence and more confidence and more confidence, right? So the people in the April or the August challenge, as we kind of wrapped things up, one of the things that somebody said was, you need to bottle this up. Like this is so impactful, so powerful. You need to bottle it up. And yesterday, I was just looking down at my notes here. I can't find her name. But yesterday, somebody on our coaching program, she said that she has gotten so many comments after LITA where they were telling her she just seems so much more natural on camera. She was so fearful before going into LITA, and she just had such huge results, and people see a difference in her. And it's so cool to hear it on the other end for people looking at the people who got that transformation. So what's the point of all of this? I learned 3 incredibly valuable lessons through that process of putting myself out there. And because it's something I know, because you told me you're struggling with it too, to put yourself out there, do something that you feel is right, but you're scared to death to do it. I learned these 3 valuable lessons, and I hope that they will help you actually expand on what you should be doing. So, lesson 1. The very thing that I was so scared of was exactly the thing that created the biggest results ever in my business. That's kind of that tells something, right? I want you to think about that when you are scared to do something, because I believe that when we are scared to do something, guess what? That's telling us, not like scared to jump off a cliff. That's different. That's survival instinct. But when we're scared to do something that isn't going to kill us, I believe that that is exactly our inner us telling you that you have to do it, because that is what is going to give you and your students, or however that plays out, the biggest results. It's going to change lives. It's going to change people's worlds. Because you're scared to do it, do not hold back on doing that thing, because you are then holding back on helping people and getting people results and changing their worlds. So do not let that fear stop you. Realize instead, transition what that fear means to you and say to yourself, okay, because I'm fearful of it, that is what I need to be doing. And you just got to step through it. You got to push past it, right? And so I think that's that lesson 1. When we are scared, we know that it's the thing that we have to do. Lesson 2, leading from the heart wins always. So this is not something that I've been comfortable doing in the past in my business, is tapping into the heart perspective, like the heart of what we do around here. It's always been very tech focused, even when I'm talking about strategy in the past, I kind of kept it surface level. And that all changes as of this year. Leading from the heart wins always, because it's human, it's personal, right? You can do this no matter what kind of content you create. So I want you to look at where you are in your business and what you teach or help or create content about. How can you add heart to that content? Will you do me a huge favor and leave me a comment in the comments and tell me how you can maybe transform your content to add some heart to it. It doesn't have to be completely different, right? But it is something that I want you to start looking at, because it's definitely something that just happened this year. Again, I was scared to do it, but it has changed the way I view content. AC Paul says, very true. I often know what I need to tackle first by feeling what I least want to do. Stephen Pressfield calls it the resistance. It's tough to lean into, but that is the direction to move. Thank you for that additional clarification. I actually need to learn more about that. So I will look that up later. Thank you. And then lesson 3 is that I was my biggest hurdle. And this is totally true of everybody here, right? Every single person watching right now, you are your biggest hurdle. Oftentimes, we want to blame others. And I will be 1000% transparent here. I had been trying to tap into that conversation for a year, 2 years before, and I kept stopping myself. Yet I kept also blaming maybe the circumstances around me or people around me who I thought were maybe holding me back from that. But in reality, that is not the case, because while you may get some negativity around what you're trying to do, and in all honesty, every time you do something that does push you further and challenge you, you will get negativity from people around you. You will push up against some boundaries there, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it because when you realize it's not anybody else or anything else around you, and it's only you holding yourself back, then that gives you the power to actually push through, right? To step over that line that feels so uncomfortable. So it was my fault that I did not bring that out earlier, even though I knew I needed to for like 2 years. And when you fully, I think that, you know, as business owners, as content creators, as leaders, we have to take the blame. We have to realize that everything is up to us. Forget the content creators, the business. In life, everything that we want to do, that we want to achieve, is up to us and us alone. Yes, we have help. We have people around us to support us. But without you actually taking ownership of that, you won't do the things that you need to do, right? So Anthony says, I have discovered that doing these kinds of videos are ideally suited for I'm going to skip right over that because I can't seem to say that. Approach to study and understand self. Big time. I'm glad you're enjoying this. And again, I do want to hear you. Kevin says, "Peow!" That's the sound of negativity bouncing off my awesomeness shield. I love the way you said that, Kevin. That is so awesome. I'm going to steal that. And I want to say this. Shanita Jones in the April LITA challenge, she said something in one of her challenge days that has stuck with me to this day. I think about it so constantly. She said, your inner me can be your worst enemy, because it rhymes, but it's so true. Your inner me can be your own worst enemy. So that's powerful, right? Say says, I'm so happy. It's so good to see you, by the way. I'm so happy to see you moving forward with Uniquely You. It's been a long time coming, and so far it's wonderful. I'm very thankful. It's a very difficult thing. It always has been. And that is why we are having those deeper conversations inside of the Uniquely You podcast, as well as the Facebook group. That is a free Facebook group to discover the topics throughout the podcast and any topics you guys want to discover as well. I want to dive deeper into finding your own magic, discovering who you are in a truly vulnerable way instead of the fake authenticity that exists in this world. So that is where you can dive deeper into all of this for sure, outside of the LITA challenges, because we have to wait until April. Andy Dawson in the house. How many days until LITA April? Let us know in the comments. He keeps track. So, and speaking of Andy had huge transformations through this LITA challenge, and he had been so freaking scared to put himself out there and do, regular content and go live. And the changes that I saw in Andy, and he's one of our mods, so I get to see a little bit more than just what's happening in the LITA itself. Man, Andy changed as a person. He became more sensitive, more aware of others, more sweeter. Like, not that he wasn't sweet before, but just like the changes inside of Andy, I was incredibly happy to see because he became a bigger version of himself, which is so cool. Okay, 197 days until LITA April. But in the meantime, get into the Facebook group and listen to the podcast. Those links are in the description and coming to you in the comments right now so that we can have these conversations. And I want you to hear those lessons. Which lesson is your favorite, right? Let me go through those again. Lesson 1, that the very thing you're so scared to do is the very thing you must do in order to get yourself, to achieve bigger things for yourself, but also to help others grow bigger and better as well. Number 2, leading from the heart always wins. And number 3, you are your own biggest hurdle. So which one do you resonate with most? Which one says, do you think you can take forward and say, all right, I'm going to hold that lesson close to my heart. And when I am scared to do something, when I am fearful of releasing something that I want to say, do, and be, I will listen to that lesson again and keep it close. Number 1, for sure. Number 1, awesome. Okay, keep those coming. I'm glad you're enjoying about that. Yes, I hope Andy doesn't mind me saying that. I didn't ask him for permission. Number 3 for you. Okay, awesome. Sounds like 3 chapters of your book, Luria. Yes, how about that? I might be working on that. Who knows? Oops, sorry, I just pushed that. Number 1, but with your mind and heart working in tandem. Oh, great addition, John. I love that. So number 3 for Susan, leading from the heart. All 3, Blue Orchid says. So awesome. Number 3, fantastic. I am my own biggest hurdle. I don't know what the number was. That was number 3. I didn't hear it, so maybe listening is the problem too. Dude, what are you doing? Are you multitasking during this? So I really hope that this is helpful for you. Tomorrow, we actually have 3 of our LITA participants from August coming on to share their own journeys and their own perspectives of putting themselves out there and going through that challenge of doing it anyway, being scared, but doing it anyway. So I hope that you will join us for that. If you're watching the replay, be sure to join us live every Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, so that we can have these conversations together. Definitely get inside of the Uniquely You Facebook group. Link is in the description, and start listening to the podcast. This last podcast episode I did was definitely the most vulnerable I have ever been with my audience. So that was the most difficult one. I think it took me 2 weeks to record that one. So there you go. This is a huge, fantastic. Oh, JNC. Hi there. I am a new subscriber. Thank you so much. I hope that this has been very helpful for you. I'm going to keep chatting with the live audience, but replay viewers, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you on the next